and we'll be here for episode 3 in about like 2 minutes. All right. Good night, Tony.
Good night. I don't have a good night.
Damn.
That's never happened before. That
took me by surprise. I don't know. Yeah.
We got to do a do-over?
Maybe.
We've been doing this for 2 years.
Okay. More than 2.
All right, ready?
All right.
Hold on.
Get one and then tell me when you're ready. Hey, we're back. This is John.
It's Paul.
And it's Eric.
And it's What If Geeks, and I am coming to you from Boba Fett's crotch.
Which is hysterical if this is not on video.
Yeah, it's not going to make any sense, but go to YouTube and check it out. You'll see. So we are here late as always, but we're here again, and we're going to review Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 2, titled "The Tribes of Tatooine," and then we'll jump into some other shit later. But real quick, I guess because we skipped a week because our schedules suck. How's everybody doing? Welcome back. What have you been up to? What have you been doing besides?
This is not our first of the year. This is not our first of 2022, is it?
Okay. No.
Good. Traveled for work. Managed not to get COVID. I think. I don't know. I had the sniffles for a day and a half, so I assume that's not COVID. Yeah. Successful work trip. Good to be back in a work trip. Like first time in 18 months. Like I forgot how to tie a tie and talk to other humans, not via video call.
Right. Yeah. I've been working. I was flag football. Me and Paul and the kids. That's going well. The team's doing good. So plugging along as always. I was just telling you, we had a bunch of work done around the house, and the projects keep coming. So that's it. Eric, you?
Nada. Just working. And watching lots of shows.
Yeah. All right, sweet. Well, let's jump into Book of Boba Fett. Let's see. Eric, you want to do the intro real quick, and then we'll kind of roll into it?
Yeah, so spinoff from Mando season 2, basically. You probably already knew that if you listened to the episode 1 review, but the only difference in this particular episode is the director has changed. So Robert Rodriguez did episode 1. This one was directed by Steph Green, who's done a handful of episodes of The Watchmen, Luke Cage, and then The Americans, Russian sleeper show from the 80s. We're not from the 80s, about the 80s. But yeah, so that's really the only big difference. Let's just we'll give a spoiler alert right now and hop right into it, I think, because we've got multiple things to record today. So
yeah, that'd be good. Spoilers from here on out. Go watch episode 2 and come back and listen to this.
So generally, what did you guys think about episode 2?
I'll say that I know we mentioned briefly in episode 1, and we alluded to, because Paul hadn't seen episode 2 at the time, we alluded to how much of the backstory you kind of get, and I like that. I like the amount of backstory they're giving throughout the series. And it fleshes out minor characters that didn't seem like they were much. You saw them once in A New Hope, and then so it fleshes out the Tusken Raiders a little bit, kind of gives you more of a background on them and kind of their way of life. But I liked it a lot. I enjoyed it. Paul?
I did too, and I think that the learning the backstory of some of the between he gets out of the Sarlacc pit and we see him again in Mandalorian. So what's he been doing all this time? But also see him put to use some of the skills that obviously he learned in a career of being a bounty hunter. So the things like working with the Tuskens to teach him how to do these things, just how cool is not a good enough word but we'll get into this at the end, but how he integrates into their culture and kind of figures it out, and then teaches them how to do these things, like really sort of takes the time to show them how to do this stuff. And then, and we'll talk about it when we get to this part in the end, but like does this really smart thing of like getting them some notoriety and they're not just these savage people, and getting them some sort of getting them involved in the enterprise and getting them something. So now they will be a help to him. So you see him building this empire.
Yeah, and I like the fact that again, like we've joked around that, you know, Boba Fett is one of the most beloved characters of Star Wars for absolutely no reason. And we joke around, which knowing that like we love him too. And like when he showed up in Mandalorian, when he first showed up, when all you saw was his feet, and I said, it's fucking Boba Fett, and you guys are calling me crazy. And I was like, I guarantee it, I'm telling you. And there was just that excitement about him. And again, I know it's for
You really
no
said it
reason.
was Mephisto. Like don't
Oh,
try to
yeah.
don't try to go back now. Don't rewrite history. You said it was Mephisto.
You're right. But even like I know personally at the time, outside of the fact that he's got cool armor and he's a bounty hunter, there was really no reason. Like Eric said last episode, he had like 6.5 minutes in the movies, right? So it was
Yes.
some of the back shit from the extended universe that I liked. But the fact that they're taking the time to flesh out why he has this reputation, and like Paul said, not only is he going in with his skills as a bounty hunter and showing them off, but he's also willing to learn different ways of life because it's going to benefit him later. And I really like that. Like I like that a lot. Eric?
Yeah, I would try to avoid spoilers, but there's even more to it than that. You'll find
We're
out
spoiling the
soon.
shit out of everything.
No. I mean non-episode 2 spoilers. Yeah, there's even more to it than just that. But yeah, you're right. I actually appreciate how they used this show to forget about Boba Fett for a second, but develop backstory for others. Right, like the fact that they've sort of really amped up the Tuscans, the Tuscan tribes, and like kind of explain like why they're different. And we've seen sort of different kinds of Tuscan raiders, and some that use sign language, and some that just scream and yell at people. Right? They've gone to like pretty far lengths to kind of give the lore some extra color, but also tie it back to what's there, the pieces that are existing. So they've done it with Boba Fett, but I mean they're doing it with everybody here. They're drawing in all kinds of stuff. They're giving you more backstory about Tatooine and other places in Tatooine that we don't see much, like Mos Espa.
Yeah, I was about to say that they're fleshing out Tatooine as an entire society that you knew it was there just from the brief moments we had, but like they're really fleshing it out where like you're enjoying the time there.
But if you think about all we know about Tatooine from the movies, right, is there's moisture farms, there's the Mos Eisley Cantina, and sort of the spaceport area,
and Jabba,
and right, that's about it, right? And Jabba lives there. That's about it. And now you know that there's these different cities and different stuff, and who controls what and whatever, and
yeah, because you really had to be a fan of a lot of the extended universe shit to know about Mos Espa and the other, whatever the other city is, I can't remember now. And Mos Eisley, Mos Espa, and something else. But there was 3 major cities there in that area. But
and I think the detail on the Tuscans, maybe Eric just pointed this out, or maybe it's you, I forget, but like this is the most screen time they've ever gotten. Episode 1 and now, right? Like they're brief sort of weirdos in the original movies and not a lot in other things, but this is like now there's different tribes of them and they operate differently, and that some do that shrill yell thing and some just do sign language, and right, what they drink and how they move and what that sort of stuff, and that there's an actual ceremony to the putting on all of the stuff and the stick and that whole thing.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, cool. So let's get into the episode.
All right. So I think we start with Fett and Shan interrogating or Finnick. whatever we're calling her, interrogating the captured, what were they called? The Nightwind assassin.
Yeah.
And so he claims that, the mayor of Mokshai's was the one that hired him after they tossed him down in the Rancor pit, and he thinks he's about to get eaten there.
First, he's like, "I'm not going to talk."
Of course, there's no Rancor there, but we'll
Yeah.
get to that later. But so they go to visit Shai's. He basically denies he sent the assassins. He does offer Fett a bounty for bringing a captured assassin, since they're not supposed to be operating there. And Boba tries to take it as his tribute, which is kind of amusing. But he eventually tells him to go visit the sanctuary. That
And then
casino.
don't they shoot that guy? Don't they shoot him? One of the mayor's guards.
Yeah,
they
the
shoot him?
mayor's
Oh
guard.
yeah. They kill the assassin. Yeah.
Before
And
he
so
can say anything else.
I think he's told to go back to the sanctuary again, which is the name of the casino bar place where he collected tribute from Fleck in episode 1. And then the mayor says, think about it. Who really wants you dead? Because it's not me, right? Well, we'll see. I guess we still don't even know by the end of this episode if that's even the case or not, who really sent them. But so they get to the sanctuary. Fwep tells Boba Fett that 2 of Jabba's cousins, known as the twins, they want to claim Jabba's throne, which he is, of course, sitting on. It's not but a few minutes later that he's told that the twins are coming outside on their litter. This just a random aside here, but why the hell are the twins being toted around on a giant litter? Like even Jabba had like a hover sled or a hover litter, whatever you want to call it. Like, I guess that's just the way they show how cool they are, is by having people tote them around.
Well, that's what she says to him in episode 1. Like, you're supposed to be carried on a litter.
But I mean, Jabba wasn't really carried on a litter. I mean, I guess occasionally he was, sort of, but
we don't know that he was. I guess we now have to think, since this show's canon, we now have to think when he left the palace, he must have been carried. It would have taken twice as many people, but
yeah,
we have to assume he must have been carried.
Yeah, it's interesting. He might. I don't even remember if were the Hutts carried on litters in Phantom Menace, the whole pod racing. Oh, that's the other spot, right? Anchorhead, is that the?
Oh yeah, maybe.
Anchorhead, yeah.
It does. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But were they carried in litters in Phantom Menace? I don't think they were. I feel like
I don't think you saw them move.
Yeah, I think where you did see them move, they were walking of their own accord or slithering of their own accord. Right?
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, it's true, because in A New Hope, Jabba
in the new scenes.
Yeah, one of the many revamps that Lucas graced us with. Jabba is slithering through the spaceport in Mos Eisley. So who knows? Maybe at some point between there and Return of the Jedi, he got too big to slither on his own. But
yeah.
Also, maybe it was a thing where maybe he got a litter to the spaceport, and then he was there trying to coax Han to pay him for, you know what I mean? Like, because they do say, like, when you're going through the town, you should be carried on a litter to show your power, and that's when Boba Fett was like, I walk on my own 2 feet, kind of, So who knows? It's a vague area.
Yeah, it's not.
The fact that 2 of these fuckers are on one litter is impressive.
I know, right? It seems really impractical. So anyway, the twins show up on their litter. They have with them
and they're very close because they're very intertwined with each other. So
yeah.
These are the West Virginia Hutts.
They arrive with a Wookiee bounty hunter who is actually, at least to the best of my knowledge, only showed up in comics.
Yeah.
Vader and Dr. Aphra, and that's Black Chrysanthemum, or is it Chrysanthemum? I'm not sure.
There you go. Oh, look at
that. We'll just call him BK for short. So they're trying.
Super tough. Like, that was really cool.
Yeah, he's got this very like Roman gladiator look to him with
Yep.
with the. I mean, granted he's a Wookiee, but I mean with the armor he's wearing and shit, like spike shoulder pads.
Yep.
And
Yeah, and I will say I don't know how many times online I saw something about like Dark Chewbacca, or I was like, it's not Chewbacca. It drove me crazy almost as much as it drove other fans crazy when people kept calling him Baby Yoda. I was like, it's Baby Yoda, relax.
It's totally Baby Yoda.
Now I kind of get it. I was like, it's not fucking Chewbacca. Two different hues in fur. Like, so, but yeah, I was glad to see another nod to outside of the movies and TV, like bringing characters from other media. That was cool.
I mean, they seem to do that a little bit in almost every episode. They're trying to draw things in. This and Mando, between the two of them. So the twins are Jabba's cousins, and they're trying to intimidate Fett to leave. He of course refuses, and he's like, "You're gonna have to kill me. Like, it's not happening." It was interesting to me, and it actually threw me off a little though, where they were like, "Oh, we don't want war. It's not good for business." So they just leave. I'm like, what? Imagine Jabba doing that. Never. But
Yeah.
They're not Jabba, I guess. So
yeah, they're gonna handle stuff differently.
I feel like they had the personnel advantage. They had the bounty hunter with them who looked pretty badass. Just surprised that they would just feel like, okay, fine, peace.
A mob standpoint, like if there's too much fighting, they're not making money. They gotta dump all their money into fighting.
Yeah, maybe so.
I grew up watching too many mob movies, so so it made perfect sense to me.
So they left without an altercation. Is that where we were? Sorry.
Yeah, Black Chewbacca. Yeah. We were talking about Black Chewbacca.
Black Chewbacca. Oh, there go the sponsors.
It's Chewbacca of color. COC, cock for sure.
Chewbacca American.
BCM, Black Chewbacca's matter. I guess BWM.
Black Wookiees matter.
Oh, we're going to hell.
So back at his palace, back at Jabba's palace, or Fett's palace. Yeah.
It's gonna be Fett's palace. He took it over.
He's in the back to tank, and slips into another flashback scene with the Tuskens, and really the whole rest of the episode is this for the most part, and it's a pretty long flashback. So this goes back to him just after he's been captured by the Tuskens, but after he's been released from being tied up, but he's still a nobody to them, right? It's just like this guy who's okay, fine, you're okay, but you're not
to save our kid.
Yeah. So the warrior Tusken, who's played by the female stunt woman, sure, that we talked about earlier, is teaching him their fighting style with the gaffy sticks, right? Yep. And all of a sudden, this out of nowhere, shots come in, knocks down a bantha. All the Tuskens are running to the sand berms and whatever, and there's this train coming through that's just firing shots everywhere. Again, not to complain too much, but why the fuck were they shooting at them? Like, they clearly were not attacking the train or doing anything.
No, I think they would just.
It's just like warning shots.
But
no,
sort of like
sport.
If you, so like if you are on the train and part of like they're pests to them, right? They're just like
they don't look at them as people.
Correct.
So they would just take.
You're just taking random pot shots if you get a couple cool.
Yeah. Probably a bet on the train how many you can hit.
Right.
I took out a bantha. Well, I took out 3 of them. It's a harder shot,
I guess I could see that, yeah. And so they do take a couple down, and then they make a point about Fett, actually picking up one of the bodies himself and carrying it over to funeral pyre or whatever you want to call it, and dropping it on there, and just sort of the way he's looking like, this is bullshit. I can't let this stand, kind of thing,
And when he first picked up that body, for a second I thought it was either the kid or the warrior that was teaching him. The way
I thought it was the warrior.
Yeah, the way they held on that shot, I thought it was the warrior, and then I saw the warrior, so I was like, "Is it the kid?" But then
Well,
you see the kid later too. So
he picks up a couple kids as they're running for the sample. Like he saves a couple. Like, come on, let's go. Like, move faster.
yeah, so definitely does his
So,
part to help.
yeah, so this clearly has an impact on him. He goes, talks to the chief, says, give me a rifle, give me a gaffy stick, and I'll make this right or whatever. I'll be back by morning is what he tells him. And chief says, okay. So he runs out to a bar somewhere, I guess nearby, some sort of little hole in the wall or hole in the sand pit, I don't know, place. And there's a Nicktoon gang inside there. He ends up getting a fight with them, whooping all their asses with a rifle and gaffy stick, but ironically only fires one shot, mostly beats them to death with the rifle. And then when the rifle breaks, when the rifle breaks, he switches to the gaffy stick and starts fucking them up with that. And the last guy he throws with his bare hand through a window, which is like, oh shit.
Yep. And the bartender just starts cleaning up.
yeah, and he gets a free drink out of it, I guess. I don't know. So he steals all their speeder bikes and carries them back to the Tuscan camp. And as soon as he gets there, they're trying to like dismantle the bikes for parts or whatever they're doing. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
They start smashing the bikes up. It was great. Yeah, he uses their sign language to be like, no, this is how we're going to stop the train.
Yeah, so then they go through this pretty hilarious montage of training, which I thought was done really well, especially since you can't have anyone talk. It's all just like, it's all body action comedy kind of stuff. But
and he's doing that thing with them, like forward, back, right, and they're just
yeah. Yeah, it was really cool. Just the whole, like you said, like the pantomime of him trying to show them this is forward, this is back, and the one guy's like, I got it. He nods his head and right away shoots off camera backwards. They did it for comedic effect. While it could have been cheesy or like over the top 80s kind of shit, it was actually like done just perfectly.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I especially like the part once they finally all learn how to drive, and then they're trying to figure out how to like jump from one bike to the other. It's like constant fail, people running over each other, and then that one guy jumps, lands on his butt in the seat, and then somehow falls out like 2 seconds later. It's like, what the fuck?
Still can't get his balance. Yeah.
I want to rewatch that scene with the theme song from the Karate Kid. You're the best. All right, and see if it matches up.
Yeah.
So they finally work everything out, at least for the most part, and they're all ready to go. And then I think we cut back to the camp, and Fett's training again with the warrior Tuscan, learning more like tricks and looks like they're doing katas or something together. And then little kids are all sort of standing around like, oh, that's cool. They're trying to like mimic them and stuff. It's just really kind of, well, at this point, he's almost in the family, but not quite.
It shows you that he's getting there, right? And he's getting better at using the gaffy stick and learning their ways and being almost totally accepted.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me personally, I mean, this is sort of an aside from all this, but I could not imagine living with a bunch of people that don't speak my language and don't speak any language, I guess, or grunts only. And the only way you can talk to them is body language and hand signals you barely know, right? Like, I feel like, I mean, I get the impression for him, it's been many, many months at this point, right? That he's been with them. Like, I just couldn't imagine like not interacting with other people that could, understand what I'm saying and stuff. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So while they're dicking around, they hear another train coming, and they just go ahead and jump into action. It seems like they had been planning for this more than we saw in the montage, right? Because they all knew where to jump to go and who was going to stand where, and so it's kind of all ready. But so they do run up on the train. Decent action scene here. It seemed, this is going to annoy me when we get to episode 3, but this seemed really fast and high paced. You know what I mean? Like it was moving super quick. The train's fast. The speeder bikes are fast. You get the impression watching it that everything is happening quickly. And if you fuck up, people die, right? In a second. And that happens here, right? It's all going quick. And so I appreciated this whole action scene, really. It was really kind of cool.
It was really good.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And then go ahead.
No, I was gonna say they do a good job of boarding the train, and the takeover of the train was cool. Like everybody kind of doing a different part and whatever, and not just taking it over and being done with it. Like it took them a bit to get to the front of the train where there's a droid, like, and the droid just starts fucking shit up. Like, once the droid realizes that the train's getting taken over, he just starts like breaking shit, and Boba's like,
gonna blow it up.
Yeah. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah. So so the whole train assault, they end up getting on top, and it seems like for a minute they're not going to be able to make it. But then the warrior Tusken, I want to say the warrior nun for some reason, the warrior Tusken shows up out of nowhere, rides in with the speeder bike, crashes it into the side of the train, fucking explodes while she does like a crazy jump and gets on top.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she kind of saves the day for the takeover there. So they eventually stop the train. Of course, it's basically crashed. They've got all the people that are alive still gathered up in the front, and Boba asks to talk to the leader. The guy comes out, he asks him if he has any spice, and I was thinking Dune to myself the minute they said it, but he does explain somewhat. He's talking about Kessel, which all of this may get very interesting because the mines on Kessel are where the Pike Syndicate gets all of their spice from, among other things that they mine. But that's part of a huge I don't know, illicit substance trade or something, right?
And it all goes back to like Han Solo and his smuggler days, where like he was running spice for
the Kessel Run,
Jabba and the Kessel Run and all that shit.
Yeah, and this has a lot of ties to other things in Star Wars, including one that could be interesting depending on how they do it, which is Crimson Dawn. This particular syndicate, the Pike Syndicate, had worked with Black Sun and Crimson Dawn more than once, including having an alliance at some points in history, and not too far back history from this. So it could be interesting. And of course, Darth Maul is dead, so that's not what I'm suggesting. But who knows who else you could see? Maybe from a Solo movie or something shows back up here. There's a lot of possibilities they could do.
Sure.
By bringing this in, and then it's kind of a teaser here. So in any case, he makes them walk back, and basically sets it up that the Tuskens own this territory, and they got to pay a tribute if they want to keep running the train through. And so I think that's mostly where we leave that piece of it. So then they go back to the camp.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
This is the cool part to me, because like he sets that, he's like, if you want to run through here, you need to pay these people, right? So setting them up with a living essentially, and right, and just cutting them in for a piece of something gives them some power.
And also essentially setting up how he comes back to power at Jabba's palace. He's doing the same thing, so It's kind of like it's setting a precedent for that. My one I guess issue with this whole thing, and I know the Tuskens are still primitive people, but the train is running water, and they smash that pipe.
Oh, right, and it's going all over.
It's going everywhere, and they're standing there with like cups, like, yeah, Okay. Yeah. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you guys need that shit.
Right. How they get those little melon things?
Yeah.
They grow little pots of water that grow in the sand.
Yeah. Yeah, no, a giant fucking train full of water wouldn't have helped.
Right.
I was laughing. I was sitting there for a minute, like, oh my god, like, get a bucket, somebody.
So back at the camp, he is now certainly part of the inner circle, right? He's sitting next to the chieftain around the fire, and everybody else is outside them. He sort of thanks him for all that he's done and says, you know, you've been a good guide to us. I want to give you a gift. He's like, a gift? Why would you want to get? So he hands him this fucking lizard in a basket. And he's like,
Yeah.
Oh, a lizard. You know, thanks. I'll let him guide me.
Look at you, little guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he flicks something in his face, which I would assume is the spice. And then the fucking lizard like crawls up his nose into his brain.
He's like,
Yeah.
oh, and I think they said like he's gonna guide you
Yeah.
on this thing, and he's like,
Yeah,
all right,
and
guys,
Paul was
let's
like,
go.
okay, yeah, I'll
Cool,
take him
I'll
with
follow
me
you, yeah.
everywhere. And he's like, no, he's gonna guide you from within. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, what? And then boop.
Yeah, and it crawls in his nose.
It's like he's like, I'm sorry, I think I swallowed it. It's a tricky little bugger.
Right.
So anyway, this is some
It's
sort
a
of like
LSD lizard.
yeah, this is like some sort of they're borrowing from some culture. I'm not quite sure which. This reminds me of like Native American peyote sort of.
Yeah, I was
No.
gonna say it was about the same thing where they gotta go
find
off and
your
have a
find your
vision.
spiritual connection kind of thing.
Yeah.
It could be more to it than that, but that's certainly what it looked like. So then he does a very hallucinogenic trance walk through the desert, sees crazy shit like water and all this big tree, and he has flashbacks about his time on
Naboo.
Naboo, and then the water planet that's name is escaping me at the moment.
And even in the Sarlacc, he dreams about the Sarlacc. He has visions of the
Yeah.
Sarlacc grabbing him, but it's a tree around him as well. And
So
at some point, he gets a branch of the tree.
yeah. So this
So
all
the tree is
culminates.
really there. The tree's there.
Yeah, well, maybe, who knows? You know,
Well,
well,
he physically comes back with a branch.
a
So-
branch, like a dried up ass crusty branch. I mean, it could have just been on the ground. He was high as a motherfucker.
Okay. All right.
Well, whatever. It doesn't even matter. That's not the point. So the whole point of this is it culminates with him grabbing a branch, and this is apparently what the Tuscans expected, because when he mostly sobers up and he's walking back to the village carrying a stick, they're immediately like, "Show me the stick." You know, like that's exactly what you're supposed to do, I guess. When you suck a lizard up your nose, you're supposed to go find a stick.
Right.
Yes.
Go together like peanut butter and jelly.
They do. Yeah. I mean, every time I suck a lizard up my nose, I find a stick.
LSD lizard in your stick. Yeah.
So after that, there is like a ceremony where they like drape him in black robes and sort of do this whole acceptance sort of ceremony. I don't know what else to call it. And it definitely gives you the feeling, even though there's no words spoken, that he's basically part of the clan now. He's part of the tribe.
Yeah. And it's the look that you see when you first see him in Mando.
Right. In those robes.
Those robes. Yeah.
Yep, exactly right.
And then they make him, they show him how to craft his own gaffy stick.
Yep.
Yeah, which is also kind of a cool little.
And add the sort of the spike to it, or the blade on one end, right?
It was
so you
very
see him,
cool
like,
how
filing
they
it and
run-
doing the whole thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
They show you how they do all of that shit. It was really cool.
I'm honestly not even sure how the hell he got a gaffy stick out of that crooked ass branch, but it is impressive nonetheless.
They did it.
So then at the very, very end of this, there's sort of like a late at night around the fire ceremony where they're doing this dance. Now, I'm not positive on this, but this looks a lot like Maori Haka, which is like a traditional dance from the natives in New Zealand, which he descended from, Tamura Morrison. So
Yeah,
I wonder if he had some influence into them choosing this, or maybe they just did because he's the lead
no,
actor.
I think you're right, because I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think I actually saw an article on an interview with him where he said he was able to incorporate some of his heritage into that whole thing. So I think, yeah, that it was supposed to be either taken directly from it or a variation on it. But
Yeah. It looked like the kata from earlier in the episode a little bit,
Yeah.
and then a little bit more, I don't know, stylized and ceremonial.
yeah,
And then a couple of the others get up and they start, and then eventually everyone's doing it.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the census full sort of acceptance into the group.
yeah.
And that is where the episode closes. There was a few small differences between the concept art in the credits and what happened in the show, but it wasn't really significant, I don't think. I mean,
No, and I think I've seen that with each episode I've watched, where like there might be a scene where you see him, but then when you see him in the concept art, he's in the Boba Fett armor, like that kind of shit, where
yeah,
he's
well,
not in
like
armor in the episode, but he's in the armor in the concept art. So
when they're doing the ceremony and the concept art, he's being wrapped because like most of the Tuscans have like wraps, like mummy wraps kind of looking thing. They're
Right.
wrapping him in that, which they clearly didn't do here. They just put him in the black. But I mean, for this, I mean, you almost had to put him in that outfit so you could make the connection with Mando when he shows up, why he's looking like he is.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't really notice much else. I mean, the gaffy stick thing is a little different in the concept art, but mostly it's all the same. Oh, and the lizard's in a bird cage, which I guess
Yeah.
they decided wasn't cool enough.
yeah. Had a little bamboo pot. So, all right. Well, I mean, thoughts on the episode? I love it.
I really like this one.
Yeah,
Not that I didn't like the first one, but it's never mind. I'm gonna save it for next episode. I like this episode.
We've got to have one episode every series that we're just like, meh,
Yeah.
it's coming.
So this was billed as a crime boss, crime family kind of show thing, right? Like that's how they build at the beginning. We really haven't got a lot of that yet, but I'm not complaining because I feel like filling in the blanks was way more important.
Yes.
To have this Boba Fett series is way more important to fill in those blanks before we got to, crime drama.
I agree. Yeah, and I think if we're moving forward to multiple seasons, doing this now and then not having to worry about doing it except for maybe a brief flashback here or there when they need it will work out really well. As we all know, one of my biggest complaints about Warner Brothers and the CW is remember Arrow. I kept complaining about how they would do the flashbacks to the island, but then they kept on going through the entire series where they started tripping over themselves because of those flashbacks, because it wasn't making sense anymore. This is doing the flashback well. So I hope they do it just like this until they don't need to anymore, then they stop.
At
so
some
they
point
don't-
we'll catch up. Yeah.
yeah. Don't do it for this season. If you're gonna do another season, then like I said, you don't need it unless there's like some type of flashback in between that you just need to fill in a blank real quick.
Or the flashbacks have to go younger, right? He has to go even more
Yes.
formative, right?
Prior to
Late teens Boba Fett, early 20s Boba Fett, right?
something that happened, somebody he ran into.
Right.
Yes, yeah. Otherwise, you don't need them. But yeah,
I mean,
so far,
they do still have a little bit of a gap to close here between sort of donning the black robes and landing with Mando. You know what I mean? Like,
sure, yeah, we do. But like I said, by the time the end of the season comes, you should be there. And I think the way they're doing it, and again, I have all faith in Favreau and Filoni, just like I have all faith in Feige. So I have all faith in the three Fs. Uh, let's just keep going the way we're going. Just don't overstay your welcome. That's all I'm saying. Don't stick with something just because it's the format. Use the format as long as it works. So yeah. So I mean, I've loved this episode. So any other thoughts, or we're gonna good to go? We'll close it out.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
All right. Well. All right. So that's it. Let us know what you thought of episode 2. Like, subscribe, ring a bell. Hit us up at whatifgeeks.com, whatifgeeks@gmail.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we will catch you for episode 3. Good night, Tony.
Good night, Black Chewbacca.
Good night, train droid forever.